Alrighty, so I started opening this box and I was literally half asleep. So I turned the recording off and we're gonna pick up from here. So uh Hyper Candle Hold, awesome, second one of those. Super fun part of that combo deck, but of course, like even if you just do something much more reasonable, like count your blessings into like a one cost arcane card, then you just crazy stuff there too. Um It is a full playset of high voltage. Probably just a silly little card, but you know, I gotta think about that one for a minute. Um, and then we got illusionist equipment I will never use, and 10-foot tall and bulletproof. Super fun design. Um, it's something one to keep your eyes on. Like I don't know if they'll ever, trip up. Will it be like, oh, give an attack? Will there be a tear limb from limb for non-root attacks? Probably not, but time will tell. Even just having access to big attacks, because like the way the design is siloed in this game with classes and talents, like there's some classes that just don't have access to big attacks. Like even I'm thinking like Fi or Ninja. Um, Even like their big attacks actually start off small, so they synergize with like all the low base attack clauses. So things like Lava Burst or Salt the Wound or Tenacity, or Tenacity is generic, but um, all those cards start off at a low base attack value. So you can tutor them with like Mask of the Pouncing links and all that sort of good stuff. Alrighty. One box down, 3 more to go. But yeah, what could those classes do with a 10 block, 10 attack equipment? Whew. So you can't block out of, like, will there be a class or card? So I guess up to this point, the only card that let you block with an action out of Arsenal was Art of War. I believe that is a correct statement. Will there be a card in the future that lets you block out of Arsenal? That's an interesting question. Because I can see something like, let's look at the synergy with like Levia, right? Where it's like, oh, I really want to flip and consumed. Is there a world where you're like, okay, I'm already going to have the plus intellect from Levia consumed. Do you just want to have that pressure for the flip turn? Super interesting. Do you just want to sometimes have the protection of blocking 10? My gut tells me no, because obviously it's a red and it's a block 10. So like the only mode on that is like if you draw that and it's not specifically your flip turn, not in a great spot. That also really depends. Like you really want there to be, well, same with the meta, right? So if there's lots of really tall attacks, are you happy to play a card like 10-foot tall and bulletproof? Like probably, because they're using their whole hand to play them. Because even stuff like Spinal Crush is only nine attack. That's still 3 cards. Be interesting. And that's an interesting deck building puzzle too. Because most of the ratios are built around consistency based on 4 cards, right? So like you do a little hypergeometric calculation, you're like, okay, if my deck needs a blue to function every turn, how many blues do I need? And that's somewhere around the 24 range. It gives you 95% consistency. Obviously, 95 is not 100, so you'll still have turns where you don't have blues. And you'll have games where your blues are clumped, but that's generally correct. So it's usually a better strategy to build your deck to be able to function when you don't have a blue, not to completely just fold. Because of diminishing returns, right? Because you could keep throwing blues in there, but your as you put in more and more blues, your chances of getting a blue per card slot you're using, it's actually less and less. Um, Snuff out. But now it's instead of for 4 cards, if you want to play that card, now you're talking, how am I going to do this with 3 cards or of 2 cards, right? Because at that point, you're saying, okay, I'm going to attack for a 2-card 10, and then, or block for 10, whatever the case might be. I'm trying to think how the sequence actually goes out. You block for 10, or you attack for 10. I guess ideally that was in your arsenal for the right moment. My gut tells me something like a Leviathan Consumed flip kind of jumps out to me. That way the intellect doesn't hurt as bad. You just leave it in your arsenal, and then you're basically hoping that the 2 cards you draw on top, one of them is a pitch. It's a really interesting little math puzzle. Uh, my guys, ultimately, I don't think any of this matters. I think the variance on that card is so high because, like, even in that example, it's like, huh, all right, if you specifically draw it right around the time you want to flip, then you're happy. And then the rest of the time, you could just be throwing the game. But let's see, are there any other heroes? Let's see, does Teklevossen care? That'd be funny. You attack with it, and then or you block with it, and then you get 2 in like the following turn. And if you're Mecropotent, you have 1 intellect. Woot. Oh, another assassin gear. I love how this lets you Arcane Barrier and then Spell Void on the same spell. Like it's so bold going from one of the most vulnerable classes to wizard shenanigans to one of the most insulated. It's crazy. Just flipping that on its head. Because when Kano players sit down, the first thing their eyes go to is like, what is my opponent's equipment suite? Because obviously your cards don't matter. It's just the equipment as far as being able to prevent with their game plan. And they have plans for their AB1s or AB2s or AB3s, like how hard they need to pitch stack or how hard they need to set up. And then they have like, oh, if they're Spell Void 4, AB1, which was a common formula for like Levia. That's a completely different kind of strategy where they're trying to bait out the Spell Void and then do a normal combo thing. But I feel like I have gotten a ton of. Oh no, this is a different one. This is the Destroying Aura token one. Okay. But yeah, the ability to, pitch a blue or whatever, prevent 3 arcane, and sack a couple pieces of equipment. Pretty good. Time will tell. We just had that battle hard in Sydney, and the finals was a Kano mirror after all the draw cards are banned. So that's fun. I love that that's really the most beautiful thing about this game is like specialists get so rewarded. Like through bans, through whatever, thick and thin. If you dedicate yourself to a hero, learn the ins and outs, learn the matchups, sideboarding, gain every advantage you possibly can. This game will absolutely reward you. That is very cool. I think it might be my third snuff out, or is it second? Second or third. Very curious. Is this ever a thing in a non? When this hits a hero, you may destroy an aura you control. If you do, they discard a card. So it is possible to do this in like aura, right? Where you do like a lightning press and to snuff out and to like create an embodiment of lightning. Are you ever excited to do that? No, no, eh, not really. I think go again is worth. I think in this game, go again is generally worth about a card. Um, and there's lots of cards that are like, if you use this card, gain an action point, or give your next attack go again, but does like basically nothing else. And if you get more stuff like modern size, you're obviously like you're cooking. Like you have lots of blinks, captain's call, kind of generic effects. Um, they give action point gone in a flash. That's important. It's my first one. I want to play a Cilio. I need that one. So I wonder if a Cilio be so popular that it's actually a money card. I have no idea how much it's worth. Actually, I haven't looked at the market at all yet. So, um, yeah, I've been mostly focusing on Star Wars Unlimited. So, just very excited about the new set. Oh yeah, another reason to do a Cilio. I sold my Storm Striders a couple months ago. Well, not a couple months ago. That was okay. That was a while back. That was before Rosetta was announced. This was before even Mr. Part of the Missile was out. But had a new player and sold in my Storm Striders. So I think Verdants will probably want Storm Striders. Just the ability to like really like destroy Enigma pieces when they tap out and attack. It just makes them respect that. The ability to like cheat a whole turn cycle by like instant casting 4 damage, lets you do that, like all kinds of interesting stuff. And I just think if you have Millennium Tree out, like Millennium Tree, Eternal Inferno, um, Storm Striders Inferno, and then play Inferno again, seems cool. Yeah, Millennium Tree is a very exciting card. Because how do you get the card draw to feel that right? Because on a, or I guess the more interesting question is how do you abuse the amp, right? Because you could say something along the lines of like, oh, because it's +3, we're basically turning all of our surge cards online. You know, very bait, yes, let's go. I'm sorry. Cold foil common, the most exciting pool for me at least. Yeah, I love that card. Um, we'll get back to we'll get back to. Actually, no. Let me follow my train of thought. I'm just gonna put you nice cold foil. That's weird. It doesn't look very cold foil on the camera. Huh. Anyway, I totally blanked out. We're talking about Storm Striders and Amp. I guess that's really the big question of the set in general. I'll just. Oh no, I'll talk about well grounded. So well grounded. Uh, one of my favorite things about Levia was like the Grass of Darkness, where it had all these really interesting implications in very specific matchups. So, being a block 2 arm piece was solid, but it's not actually block 2. What it actually is instant prevent the next 2 damage, which, ta-da, we have it again. This makes things like, attack reactions. Thinking primarily at the time it was like Katsu doing their Bond shenanigans. Um, where it basically said, if you want to use your arm piece, I'm going to prevent that with my arm piece. And having the flexibility of also being good versus arcane, just absolutely fantastic. And the fact that we get this, but it also is a Earth card that we can banish and decompose. Very excited to play that card. Very, 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 very excited. So, but amp, yeah, like that's the fundamental question of this expansion, right? So we talking about the tree. So, um, are the surge effects you're getting like good enough to say, all right, cool. As long as I surge on this card, I'm gonna get my value from Millennium Tree. Maybe. Um, is it that we need to like chain these amps together with things like Surge and Aethertide? Because that's huge. Doing Millennium Tree, Surging Aethertide into like a 1 cost. Super interesting stuff. Like, because then you have like this multiplicative effect that Kano had, but you're doing it every time you have Millennium Tree out. So that's super interesting. Is it abusing things like uh is it abusing things like, so for tomorrow, the draw cards and Toma Harvest, the draw cards to keep these, Millennium Trees and Channel Mount Heroics out even longer? It's a fundamental question. I do think those are probably the most fundamentally strong things that Elemental Heroes can. When they start channeling and keeping out their huge buffs for multiple turns, things get a little bit crazy. A 10-foot fall and tall and bulletproof. That's a sign. Slock. Yeah, that'll be a fun card to brew with. Like I think 10-foot tall and bulletproof. It's hard to get excited about it, but like I do like the idea of that in like Leviathan. Then again, are you ever excited to do that over say something? Oh, we finally got one. My goodness, I was getting panic. We got a Felling of the Crown. That's very important for all the Earth heroes. And so far, I have one. So, finally, happy about that. Such a cool card. So, like, they did the same design space with uh the Codex of Frailty, where it basically said you need to empty your hand to do this absurdly above rate thing. You know, with Codex, it gives you a ponder, so that's nice. But this one, it's if you have 4 more cards in your banish zone, it's a 3-card 8. Great. And then when this attacks, you may banish 2 Earth cards and an action card from your graveyard. If you do, each hero puts a card from their hand on the bottom of their deck. So obviously, you want to go into that attack with no cards in hand. Super interesting. Foil, let's go. Very strong because it ends up being, effectively a 2-card 11. And the fact that as an Earth hero, you can like recur that with So from Tomorrow or Rites of Replenishment if you want to go that route. All kinds of super fun options. Very, very excited to play around with that. Also has UPF considerations too, but like In Blitz, like decomposing is a little bit harder, but obviously possible. As then again, I don't know. It depends on the power level of Blitz, right? Because I could say like, oh, people decompose obviously in pre-release, but everyone's on the same power level. Splatter Skull. The it says Reinhardt specialization on there, but very happy for him. I think the last time I was super excited about Reinhardt was a sort of, because I've always done like the whole claws thing with Blood Rush Bellow, and that's great, but it feels like other heroes do that better. Um, there was a time where I was experimenting with a Ravenous Meat Axe, just super six heavy, very block heavy deck. Um, and then it also used things like Wall of Meat and Muscle, so you could do things like have a Wild Ride in Arsenal, uh, use either your Apex Breaker or it was also on the Might Clash of Might card, uh, and you could put Beast Within or Skullcrack on top of your deck, guaranteeing your Wild Ride. And you could Wild Ride, draw a discard, and then attack with Ravenous Meat Axe, so it becomes a 2-card 11 with double Intimidate. So you do that a couple times and you're in spot. Unfortunately, as you might imagine, that is a very specific sequence that's to pull off. And when the payoff is a 2-card 11 double Intimidate, it's still ultimately pretty fair given what the meta's doing. Um, felt cool, but only played that a handful of times on Talishar. It's about as far as I went with that archetype. But I am excited to do Ravenous Meat Axe Leviathan, though. Just because I think the ability to, number one, play in your graveyard is great. But also, and gives you some resistance to new and the wizards and such. But I was like, Ravenous Meat Axe, given the right deck building, is very similar to Hexagore. Just doesn't lock you into Blood Debt as fast as that one does. And also, with Call to the Grave, you can build an even more 6-heavy deck. So, um, and I think the cost curve, the cost curve that fundamentally excited me about Hexagore. So Hexagore is a 6-attack weapon for 2 resources, just absurdly above rate. Like you're just like, what other heroes are excited to get there? The 3 for 1s and they're 4 for 1s and whatever. This is 6 for 2. Uh, but when you attack with it, it deals damage to you. It deals 6 damage to you, minus damage for every blood debt you have. So basically, if you have 6 blood debt, it is online and you take 0 damage. So this creates a conundrum. How are you swinging Hexagore while also turning off blood debt in the same turn? Obviously, if you take blood debt, you're negative rate. You're terrible. It's terrible. At the time of Hexagore, the only go again source is pretty much Dread Screamer, or you could do like convulsions, or you could do like convulsions into like a go again attack, and then use Hexagore off of 6 resources. Not super exciting. In heavy hitters, Bruce got access to agility tokens. Um, and agility tokens make all of your banishers have go again. Well, this puts you in a very awkward situation as far as the cost curves, because most brood attacks are 2 cost. Is that a foil? No, just regular brilliance. So let's say you have agility, 2 cost banisher, let's say Hungering Slaughter Beast or Writhing Beast Hulk. And you have 1 extra resource if you pitch to blue to swing Hexagore. You're pitching a whole other card for that because that gets a lot less exciting. It becomes a 3-card 12. Roots have a lot. Leviathan specifically has a lot of 3-card 12s. That's not, you know, it's not worth building your deck around. But if you also combine Leviathan's ability to banish and turn into a positive, so for example, Splice against some recursion, you get some absolutely absurd lines, such as, let's say you block with Clash of Agility, you play Hungering Slaughter Beast, but before you play the Hungering Slaughter Beast, you have Howl from Beyond and you're banished. So you Howl from Beyond, Hungering Slaughter Beast, into Hexagore off of 2 blues. Now, the usual ratios Leviathans run, they're usually around 21 to 24 blues. You have about a 50% chance of having 2 blues in a given hand. So with that sequence, it becomes a 3-card 16 on offense, plus you block for 3 and added a 6 to your graveyard with the block. Super interesting stuff. But now let's fast forward to Part the Misfail, where we got Shadow Realm Abomination. Shadow Realm Horror. Now we've got a card that rewards us for playing more 6-drops. And it's a Hungering Slaughter Beast Dread Screamer hybrid to boot. So having another source to go again, having a 7-cost go again is just absolutely absurd. So, and that card, it gives you like another reason, just kind of like sit on your oh, we got a legendary. Let's go. Sorry, sit on your Howl from Beyond and banish. So this is, yep. Until the end of turn, whenever an aura permanent you control with sigil in its name leaves play, amp 1. It is a wizard equipment. Unfortunately, I think I might as well say Volzar specialization. I don't see a world where you're excited to play that in Verdance. I just don't. I don't see that. Maybe there's some world where you're, where you're playing like Sigil Overlay with like the one that has Arcane Shelters, so that way you can. Yeah, no, I think it's a Volzar specialization. Either way, I heard Masha Bay talking about it, and I think it's just a really good perspective where it's like, hey, if you get 2 value from your arms, that's totally okay. And it's really easy to get 2 to 3 value from this. Sorry, 3 to 4 value from this. So for Volzar, what he wants to do, great. Drink under the table. I actually haven't taken a close look at this because like I keep seeing Betsy getting pop up in conversations. When this hero attacks, you may wager with them. The winner draws a card, and the other hero discards a card. So there's a chance that you have to discard a card. That's bold. Oh my goodness. Obviously, since it's a wager, you can just use your hero ability to give overpower. Super interesting. Because, like, another thing, that's a huge deck building puzzle. So, like, Guardians absolutely do not have access to action points. So, in this deck, the way Guardians are traditionally built right now, there are a lot of blues that they do not want to resource. So this fundamentally forces. Oh boy, we got a Marvel. Let's go. That forces them to build their blue base to actually want to resource cards. But anyway, let's talk about this Sigil of Forethought. Ah, golly, I'm going to spend way too much money on this set. Uh, uh, When this leaves the arena, create a ponder token. Wizard instant. I'm literally stunned right now. Like, oh my goodness, absolutely gorgeous. Whew. Oh, sorry, chat. Whatever. That's such a cool idea. Oh, where are my sleeves instead of being an animal over here? Ah, gorgeous. Creating a ponder token. It doesn't stack as well as like Sigil of Brilliance, obviously. It is an instant, so you can do some cool stuff with that. It is a wizard card. I wonder. I don't. I'm not really a wizard expert, but I feel like um, there's a fair number of wizard cards that are like, if you've played a wizard card this turn, you could do something else. Those effects might be like non-attack action specific. I'm thinking things like Gaze the Ages. I'm fairly certain that is a card that says you have to have played a wizard non-attack action. I think is how that card is worded. Sigil of Forethought. So I'm thinking the only non-lightning card that returns sigils is that overlay, and that shuffles it into your deck, so much less exciting. But you do have that rainbow arcane etchings that lets you bring a sigil back from the discard, from the graveyard. So that's super interesting. Let's do a little box analysis. I think that was the last box. So here we go. Oh, huh. This Volzar specialization that doesn't deserve a sleeve. Whoopsie. Let me. So far we are looking good for Volzar. We got the greaves and we got the arms. So that's nice. No Millennium Tree though. Oh goodness, it just got dark in here. Let me turn the light on. Sleeping in a cave. Yeah, Rosetta did not bless me with a Bark of the Millennium Tree. Let's see if I can get it, because that is one I really wanted. But that's okay. Maybe surprising everyone, bringing some Acilio to locals. Could be fun. Also, could just be boring and play Vinsec, because that deck looks insane right now. Just played a wreck all of Enigma's auras and the consistency of getting a bunch of rune chants. Whew. Simply with Dirge, destroy an aura you control, create a rune chant token. It just every single turn you will have at least an aura, and that card makes it so that you can just rune gate whatever. Just super low effort, zero variance. It's great. And then you can even get spicier and just do stuff like play your whale and then create a rune chant or two, and then creepers that end to give it go again to get another action point and rune gate again. So looks like a very fun deck. Good. It's super impressive how just a completely non-shadow set just gave so much love to both the shadow heroes, and one of them was just a majestic. It's truly a oh boy, another marvel. Let's go. All right, sigil of like this. This is these cards are absolutely stunning. Like, whew, colors are gorgeous. The foiling's gorgeous. Like, oh my goodness. And this is Sleazy Arena. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an attack action card, put it into your hand. I just absolutely adore this cycle. Um, might be getting some more boxes, chat. Oh my goodness. Woo. We'll see. We'll see. Where the secondary market prices end up settling. It's like I'm not much of a collector, but for this set, yeah, I think yeah, my general vibe for Tales of Aria was like I just wanted to support the LGS, so like I would pop in usually on a Wednesday, just pick up a box, open up a box, sort it, and rinse and repeat a couple weeks in a row. So, and then I end up sorting those cards into effectively giant stacks where if someone said they were interested in the game, I was like, oh, which of these three heroes interests you the most? And I'd be like, boom. Here's every card from Tales of Aria that Briar can play. Have fun. Or that Oldham can play. Have fun. So that's a thing. Foil. Oh, count your blessings. What a interesting card. Because, like, my instinct was, you know, is there a way to get a couple count your blessings into the graveyard without actually playing them? Because that's not super exciting. You know, if you're paying 2 resources to heal for 2, you know, you feel real bad. But if you build your deck around, I'm thinking things like I'm thinking cards like maybe Dawnblade. I guess is that the only one? I was trying to say like a 1 cost weapon, right? If you have a 1 cost weapon, um, and then you count your blessings, that turns into like a 2 card 6 like immediately. So that's interesting. Oh, cut to the facade. I was like, wait a second, that's a majestic. Shade Aluminium Tree. I am very excited to give that one a shot. Love the theme. I told him so. Actually, for the longest time, I remember. I said the card design that would make me lose my mind would be something like a weapon that you grew. You know, the idea was like a vine or a plant or something, and it was like if you start off the game as like a 2 attack weapon, and if you pitched a blue, it would you put a +1/+1 counter on it or +1 counter on it or something like that. Like that kind of design was just like super exciting to me when I first started the game. At least the potential for that design space. And I think Channel is a much more elegant version of that. It obviously is less broken, right? Because you could do some really silly stuff if you just play, full fatigue, but also have a weapon that sometimes attacks for 6 or 5 because you put some action points and a couple resources in it. Could get very obnoxious and very inevitable. So good thing I didn't listen to George, who's been playing the game for a month. But that was an idea. Oh, another one of my crazy ideas when I was first started the game. So I saw landmarks, right? I saw, Corsham and Library of Solana, and I was like, this is so. That's such a cool way to do like the arena style effect. It's in a lot of games, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, whatever. They have like, oh, you play this card, and the game rules of the game fundamentally change, and that's neat. I remember thinking, how cool would it be if you had like mounts that let you like go find your landmark, right? If you had like equipment piece or even just like a mount card, it was kind of like the instructors, that was like, oh, if this card's out, go find, go right off into the sunset and go find your landmark. But obviously, that's antithetical to what they want to do with Fables. They want Fables to be these fun cards that don't aren't super high power level. That very flavorful, very meaningful for the story of the set, but not for the gameplay because they're so rare. It'd be a pain in the butt to find one. See, now I'm excited just to go like look up all the Marvel sigils, because like, whew, absolutely gorgeous. What other one cost weapons are there? You have Reaping Blade, but obvious obvious anti synergy with Count Your Blessing and Reaping Blade. Um, just Dawnblade? That can't be right. I mean, I guess you could count Kadachi, but that seems kind of goofy. Kadachi plus Count Your Blessings. You're still not doing great. You're not feeling good about that deck. Um, let's go through the classes. Guardian does not have a one cost weapon. Ninja has Edge of Autumn and Kadachi. Warrior has Dawnblade. I guess the hatchets all count, so that could be fine. Or Centauri's Saber. Oh my goodness, that's gross. What, you just do Centauri's Saber and uh Centauri's Saber plus Count Your Blessings. Fascinating. Huh. What do I hear what that would go in? That kind of fatigue style deck. Is that a Bolden deck? You would need blues. You need lots of blues. It's probably just correct to be Kasai, but who knows? Arc Lightning. That's a fun card. I got another one. Let's go. There's obviously you could do count your blessings on your opponent's turn. So you could do things like Oasis and the count your blessings. Whew. Silly, silly stuff. Love the design space of that card. I think we'll all hate it by the end. Once that card gets figured out, I think we'll all hate it. I think it's like how that's going to turn out. But it is also a non-block, so anyway. Yeah, I love the innovation people are doing, like Flicker Wisp, a card that basically saw no plan Briar, but now it's like with Arc Lightning doing lots of cool stuff. Very exciting. Another Arc Lightning. Oh boy, are we Aurora gamers? Is that what our card pool is telling us? Because all kinds of lightning and rune blade stuff. Aurora is not the most exciting for me. She's cool. Definitely not where I wanted to start though. More of a normal. Oh, there's my third call to the grave. I guess I'm playing Leviathan. Oh no. Bringing Leviathan next week. Now, here's the fun question. Do I go full George mode? Just bring main deck Ravenous Mutax? That's a fun question. Do a little Hexagore impersonation. This could be fun. Oh, the box just answered. We are Acilio gamers. I actually don't think I even have a Aurora hero card. All right, last pack magic. Is it Bark of the William Tree? Hold your breath. Oh, alrighty. So that is 2 cases opened. Lots of fun stuff, lots of possibilities. We got quite a few play sets. Not the most ideal, but we're still feeling quite good. Couple marvels, lots of legendaries. I mean, just for a reminder, this was yesterday's legendary pool. Cannot be mad about that with a extended art face purgatory. Ooh. Oh, I just realized this whole setup was made to prevent glare if the camera was on the other side. So sorry about that. Probably was glare was probably not great there. And we're gonna set this up. We got lightning over here, earth over here. The card pool is begging me to play 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Very funny. Flash, enough outs. Boom. There it is. Another case pulled. So, time to sort everything out and start building decks. All right. Thanks for watching.